He used his power to prey on innocent females.
Breaking news tonight at 6. A former Charlotte County Sheriff's deputy is now accused of killing at least 2 women back in the 1970s, but walked free, putting other women in danger for decades. John Greer died in a healthcare facility in Tennessee this year and never faced justice.
Greer is also accused of raping a teenager in the department's Explorer program. NBC2's Rachel Whalen is live in Charlotte County tonight, where deputies finally cracked this case.
This is where Adele Easterly died here back in 1979 while working at this store. At the time, it was called the Farm Store. 45 years later, Charlotte County Sheriff's Office says they now believe the man who did this was a deputy and could also be responsible for the deaths of other women, including his own wife. John Greer served with the Charlotte County Sheriff's Office from 1979 to 1980. But Detective Mike Gandy refuses to call them one of their own.
I consider this guy an opportunist who used the uniform, who used his authority, and he used his power to prey on innocent females.
Last April, Gandy says Greer finally confessed to killing Adele Easterly. But it took detectives a long road to get here.
But remember, this is a police officer, and he knew how not to leave evidence, and he knew these things.
The case was brought back to life in 2016 when a former sheriff explorer came forward. She said Greer raped her and told her, quote, "Ask them dead expletives like Adele Easterly what happens when they say no to me." However, detectives said they still didn't have enough to arrest him.
This was not the only case we were working on at that time. We solved 2 in the middle of working on this one. If they were easy, they'd already be solved. It takes a lot of work.
71 days before Adele's murder, Greer's wife Jackie was found dead in their home on LaBelle Street in Punta Gorda. At the time, it was ruled a suicide. Now detectives believe John was responsible for her death too.
Yes, because it just wasn't right to the way they found the mother. And she would never leave that child.
Teresa Goodray's mother owned the house Jackie died in. She said the Greers had a little boy who was deaf.
My mother thought she was such a nice person and very good with her son, and my mother just fell in love with the little boy because he was so cute.
While she's thankful a family has answers, Teresa says she's angry Greer was never brought to justice. He died in a Tennessee nursing home shortly after deputies interviewed him.
He deserved to have gone to jail prior to this a long time ago.
Absolutely. I wish we could have caught him sooner.
The sheriff's office believes there are more victims out there. 2 women mysteriously died while Greer was on the force, so they are asking anyone to come forward. He also works for several agencies in Florida after resigning from the Charlotte County Sheriff's Office, including Punta Gorda Police Department.
Now, Rachel, I don't want to second guess these detectives. It seemed like there was a lot of evidence to charge him earlier when he was alive. I just feel terrible for those families.
Yeah, we asked the detectives that question. They said, hey, look, this was a guy who used to be a police officer. He knows how to hide evidence. It took them a long time to gather all of that. Once they finally felt like they had a case, unfortunately, they learned that he was close to death, and that is just how it timed out before they were able to speak with him.
Okay, one more quick question. Whatever happened to Greer's son, the little boy?
The Charlotte County Sheriff's Office says that Bruce Greer is now in a Texas prison. They say that he was ripped off of his inheritance from his father. He would write to the father asking him what happened to his mother, but that is what they told us. I'm reporting in Charlotte County. Rachel Whalen, NBC2.
Well, there's a lot to process with this story. So here's a quick timeline of how Greer got away with killing these women and then raping another.
On August in 1979, Greer reported his wife Jackie shot herself in their Port Charlotte home. And then 2 months later, Greer called dispatch saying that he found Adelaide Easterly, dead at the farm store on Highway 17. In 1980, a man reported his wife missing after Greer repeatedly came to their home to try to have sex with her. Less than 2 weeks later, Greer was suspended and resigned.
And in 1986, detectives spoke to a friend of Easterly's. She said that Greer told her how his wife Jackie had taken his service revolver to shoot herself. They fought over the gun. It went off and he died, or she died. That was the story back then. It wasn't until 2016 that detectives released some more information about the deaths of both women. And that is when that sheriff's explorer said Greer raped her multiple times and threatened to kill her when she was a teenager. Last April, Greer finally admitted that he shot Adele Easterly and his wife Jackie. He died this March when he was 77 years old, never facing charges for any of the crimes.
And we told you that a sheriff's explorer says Greer repeatedly raped and threatened her. She came forward finally decades after the crime and helped to break this case open. The Explorer program is run by the sheriff's office for students ages 13 to 19 who are interested in a career in law enforcement.